Welcome to Who's Wrong. If you're into messy stories, blurred morals, and moments that make you stop and ask, wait, who's actually wrong here? You're in the right place. Hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next story. Now let's get into it. I cut off my sister after she adopted my biological son. Who's actually wrong here? Okay, so I don't even know where to begin with this. It's been a lot. A real mess, honestly. My sister Clara, she adopted my biological son Liam, and now I've completely cut her off. My whole family thinks I'm the biggest monster on earth, but how can they not see my side? Let's rewind a bit. 7 years ago, I was 16. I got pregnant. It was a complete shock, a total nightmare. I was young, terrified, barely making it through high school. My parents, they were furious, but also kinda pragmatic. They said, "You're keeping the baby, but we're not raising it." Which, looking back, was still a messed up thing to say to a scared teenager. Clara, she was 28 then. Married, stable, always wanted kids but couldn't have them. She swooped in like some kind of savior. "I'll adopt him," she said. "He'll be family. You can still be in his life." Everyone thought it was the perfect solution, a win-win. My parents were relieved. Clara was over the moon. And me? I was just numb. I felt like a thing that happened to me, not something I had any say in. I gave birth to Liam. It was traumatic. Holding him, knowing he was mine, but also knowing I was signing him away. Those papers felt heavier than anything in the world. Clara and her husband, Mark, they were there, all smiles and support. They promised. They swore up and down that I'd be his special aunt, that I'd get to see him all the time, that I'd always be a part of his life, just not as his mom. For the first few years, it was okay. I visited, I called, I bought him presents, I was Auntie Sarah. But it was always supervised, like I was a guest. Clara would always be hovering. If I tried to get too close, too motherly, she'd subtly step in. "Liam needs his nap now, Sarah," or "he's a little overwhelmed today." It wasn't awful, but it wasn't what I'd imagined. It felt like I was constantly being reminded of my place, my non-place as his mother, and as Liam got older, it got harder. He started asking questions. "Why do I have two mommies?" Or "Why don't you live with us?" Clara would always jump in. "Auntie Sarah is your special auntie, honey. She loves you very much." Never, "She's your birth mom." Always special auntie. Last year it came to a head. Liam was 6. I'd spent the whole day with him, just us, at the park. We were laughing, playing, and he looked up at me with those eyes and said, "I wish you were my real mom." My heart, it just broke. I hugged him so tight. I told him I loved him more than anything. When I dropped him off, Clara was waiting. She had this tight smile. That evening I got a text, a long one, from her. She said she needed to set some boundaries, that Liam was getting confused. That my presence, my special auntie role, was making things difficult for him to understand who his real parents were. My real parents. She meant her and Mark. She said she needed me to step back. To only visit on holidays, to reduce how much I called, to stop taking him out alone. I was stunned and furious. I called her immediately. "What are you talking about, Clara? You promised. You said I'd always be in his life." She was cold, so cold. "Things have changed, Sarah. Liam needs stability. He needs to know who his parents are. You signed the papers. You gave up your rights." Those words hit me like a physical blow. "You gave up your rights." She made it sound so final, so permanent, as if my heart, my connection to him, also just vanished with a signature. I couldn't breathe. I tried to argue, to plead, but she just kept repeating it. "For Liam's sake, Sarah, he's our son now. Our son, my son, the one I carried, the one I birthed, the one I gave to her because I was a terrified kid who listened to everyone." I hung up. I haven't spoken to her since. I haven't seen Liam. It's been almost a year. My parents are calling me heartless. They say I'm punishing Clara for doing me a favor. They say I should be grateful. Grateful. For having my child taken from me twice. Once by circumstance, and again by the very person who promised she would. I don't know what to do. I miss Liam so much it physically hurts. But I can't look at Clara, knowing she can just cut me out like that. Like I'm a danger to my own child. Who's actually wrong here? Is it really me for wanting more than special auntie status? For wanting to be acknowledged for my role? Or is it her for breaking a promise that meant everything to me? So what do you think? Am I overreacting by cutting off my sister after she adopted my biological son and then tried to limit my access to him? Let's take a look at what some of the top comments said. Commenter 1 said, "She literally adopted your son. She's the mother now. You made that choice. You can't have it both ways, Sarah." Commenter 2 said, "Clara promised you." She knew what she was doing. 6 years later, she changes the rules. That's manipulative and cruel. Commenter 3 said, "This is heartbreaking. While she is the legal mother, her promise was a significant factor." A child needs to know their full story, and limiting you hurts Liam in the long run. I reported my best friend's husband after he confessed to me. Am I the jerk? Okay, I need to know if I'm the biggest, most terrible jerk on the planet. I think I am. But then, I also think I did the right thing. This whole situation is a honestly. It involves my best friend, her husband, and something so dark, so messed up, it's been living in my head rent-free for weeks. My best friend, Maya, and I, we've known each other since kindergarten. She's like a sister to me. Her husband, David, he's always been this quiet, mild-mannered guy. A bit nerdy, kinda awkward, but Maya loves him fiercely. They've been together for 15 years, married for 10. I was her maid of honor. I love them both. Or I loved them both, I guess. About a month ago, Maya was out of town for a work conference. David called me totally out of the blue. He sounded off, really agitated. He asked if I could come over. He said he needed to talk to someone. I thought maybe it was marriage stress, you know. She's been super busy lately. Maybe he was feeling neglected. Standard stuff. So I went over. He was pacing. The house was a mess, which isn't like him. He offered me a drink like 3 times, even though I kept saying no. He was clearly trying to work up to something. I tried to make small talk, asking about his job, whatever. He just kept stopping, staring at the floor, then looking up at me with these really haunted eyes. Finally, he just blurted it out. He said he had to confess something, to me, because I'm Maya's best friend, and because he trusted me. He started talking about other things that happened a long time ago, before he even met Maya. He started talking about a girl who went missing from his hometown like 20 years ago. Cold case stuff. I vaguely remember it being on the news way back when, but I never connected it to him, obviously. He just kept rambling. He said he was with her, that they were driving that night, that something happened. He didn't exactly say he killed her. Not in so many words, but he said he was responsible. He said he left her. He said he panicked. He kept repeating, "I panicked." He described the road, the woods nearby, the way her car looked when he drove off. It was too detailed, too real. My blood went cold. I sat there just frozen, my best friend's husband, confessing to me, her best friend, that he was involved in a missing persons case that was probably a murder. My mind was racing. How do I react? Do I comfort him? Do I yell at him? Do I just walk out? I literally couldn't move. He started crying, real guttural sobs, said he'd carried it for 20 years, that he saw her face every night, that he just wanted it to be over. He said he told me because he knew I'd do the right thing, that I'd know what to do. He basically put the ball in my court. I managed to say something like, "David, you need help." I somehow got out of there. I drove home in a daze. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. All I could see was his face, her face, Maya's face, my best friend's husband, a potential murderer. The next morning I called the police. I know how terrible this sounds. My first thought wasn't Maya. It wasn't protecting their family. It was justice for that missing girl. And honestly, fear. Fear of what else David might have done, or what he might do if he ever snapped again. And fear for Maya being married to someone like that. I gave them all the details, everything he told me. They listened. They were very serious. They asked a lot of questions, and they said they'd look into it. They said they couldn't confirm anything, but the information was significant. It's been a few weeks. I haven't heard anything official from the police, but I also haven't heard from David. He's not responding to my texts, which isn't unusual for him. He's quiet. Maya's back in town. She's calling me. She wants to hang out, and I can't. I just can't look at her, knowing what I did. Knowing what's hanging over her head and her husband's head. I haven't told her a thing. How do you tell your best friend that you reported her husband for a cold case murder? She'd hate me. She'd probably never forgive me. And I'd probably lose her forever. But what else could I have done? Kept a secret like that? Let a potential killer live a normal life? Am I the jerk for reporting my best friend's husband after he confessed a dark secret to me, knowing it will shatter her life? Let's take a look at what some of the top comments said. Commenter 1 said, "You absolutely did the right thing. Maya's safety and the truth are more important than keeping a secret for a potential murderer." Commenter 2 said, "You betrayed your best friend by going behind her back, even if his secrets are terrible. There was another way to handle it." Commenter 3 said, "He put you in an impossible situation. You honored the victim. The jerk here is David, not you. I refused to let my mom move in after her eviction. Am I wrong? So this just happened, and my whole family is acting like I've personally kicked my own mother onto the streets. And maybe I did. I don't know. I'm just trying to protect my own life, my own family. And now I feel like the loneliest person in the world. My mom, Brenda, she's a lot, always has been. She's charming, funny, always has a story. But she also has this chronic inability to hold down a job or manage money. She's been in and out of financial trouble for as long as I can remember. Since I was a teenager, I've been bailing her out. A few hundred here, a few hundred there, always with promises she'd get it together. She never did. I'm 35 now, married with 2 kids, a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. My husband, Mark, works incredibly hard. We're finally comfortable. We bought a nice house, not huge, but it's ours. We have a routine. It's stable. It's what I always wanted because my childhood was anything but stable. A few weeks ago, my mom called me, sounding frantic. She'd been evicted. Again, this wasn't a surprise, really. She'd been behind on rent for months. Landlord finally pulled the plug. She had nowhere to go. And of course, she called me. "Sweetheart, I need your help," she said, her voice trembling. "I have literally nowhere else to go. Can I just stay with you for a little while, just until I get back on my feet?" My stomach dropped. I pictured her moving in. Her mountains of clutter, her loud music at all hours, her borrowing money for things she absolutely needed but couldn't afford, disrupting my kids' routine, turning our peaceful home into a chaotic madhouse. I told her I had to talk to Mark. He was pretty much against it from the start. He knows my mom. He's seen what she pulls. He said, "Sarah, this will not be a little while. This will be permanent. She won't leave. And she'll drain us dry." He was blunt. He was right. I tried to explain all this to my mom. Gently at first. I offered to help her find an affordable apartment, to pay the first month's rent and deposit, to help her look for jobs, to help her with her debt. Anything but moving in. She didn't take it well. "You're kicking your own mother out," she shrieked, "after everything I've done for you. I raised you." She started crying, really laying it on thick. "I don't have anywhere to go. You want me to be homeless." The guilt was like a physical weight. My siblings, my aunts, my uncles, they all started calling. "How can you do this to your mother? She's family. It's only for a little while, Sarah. What's the big deal?" My dad, who hasn't been with my mom for decades, even called to say I was being unreasonable. Everyone was piling on. I stood my ground, though. It was agony. I told her no. Our house was too small. Our kids needed their space. Our routine couldn't handle it. I kept offering to help her financially, to find a place, to help her get a place, but not be that place. She refused my help, said if I wasn't going to open my home, she didn't want anything from me. She ended up staying with my cousin, who lives 3 states away. And now she's not speaking to me. My siblings are barely speaking to me. My family thinks I'm cold, selfish, ungrateful, but I'm exhausted. I've spent my entire adult life trying to create a stable, safe environment for my own kids, something I never had. And letting my mom move in feels like dismantling all of that hard work. It feels like going back to that chaotic childhood I fought so hard to escape. Yes, she's my mom. Yes, she raised me. But she also caused me a lot of stress and anxiety growing up. And I know, deep down, that if she moved in, it wouldn't be temporary. It would be forever. And it would destroy the peace my family has worked so hard for. So, am I wrong for refusing to let my mom move in after her eviction, even if it meant she had to move in with a cousin far away? Let's take a look at what some of the top comments said. Commenter 1 said, "Your priority is your immediate family and your kids. You offered reasonable help. She manipulated you with guilt. You are not wrong." Commenter 2 said, "She's your mother. You should take care of her no matter what. Family always comes first." Commenter 3 said, "It's called setting boundaries. You can't let her problems entirely consume your life and your family's stability. Good for you." I found my missing brother's journal and gave it to the police. Who's wrong? Okay, this is probably the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with. My brother Ethan, he went missing 6 months ago, just vanished. No trace, no note. We've been living in this nightmare of not knowing, wondering, hoping. The police have been useless, saying they have no leads. And then I found his journal, and I gave it to the police, and now my parents are furious. Ethan and I, we were always close. Younger brother, older sister dynamic. I'm 28, he's 26. He was always a bit of a wanderer, a dreamer, not the type to settle down but never irresponsible. He traveled a lot, worked odd jobs, but he always checked in, always. So when he didn't, and then days turned into a week, we knew something was seriously wrong. The police did their thing. Missing person reports, interviews, looking through his apartment. They found nothing. His phone pinged once near a remote hiking trail, then went dead. They searched the area, but nothing. It was like he walked off the face of the earth. I've been trying to cope, trying to help my parents who are just shattered. I've gone through his stuff a million times, desperate for a clue, anything. But like the police, I found nothing, until last week. I was at his old apartment, helping the landlord clear it out, since the lease was up. I was just going through some old boxes we'd missed, and way at the bottom of a trunk, under some old clothes, I found it. A small, leather-bound journal. It looked old, scratched up, not like something Ethan would normally carry. My heart was pounding. This felt like a real clue. I opened it. It wasn't a diary of daily thoughts. It was different. Entries about paranoia, about being watched, about knowing too much. It was full of coded messages, names, dates, places I didn't recognize. But there were also direct references to a specific person, a professor he had in college, who he suspected was involved in something dark. And then, a series of increasingly frantic entries about needing to disappear, and that if anything happened to him, it wouldn't be an accident. It was chilling. It wasn't the Ethan I knew. It was like a different person wrote it, or like he was living a completely different life in secret. The last entry was dated 2 days before he disappeared. It just said, "They're onto me. This is it. Find the truth." I knew immediately that I had to give it to the police. This was evidence. This was the lead we'd been praying for. This was a chance to find out what happened to my brother, maybe even find him if he was in hiding. I called the detective who was on his case. He came over immediately. He read through it, his face getting more serious with every page. He thanked me profusely, said it was the biggest break they'd had. I told my parents. I thought they'd be relieved, ecstatic, that we finally had something. Instead, they exploded. My mom started screaming. "How could you do that? That was Ethan's private journal, his thoughts, his fears. You've exposed him. You've betrayed him." My dad, usually so calm, was just as angry. "What if he's alive? What if he just wanted to disappear? Now you've told everyone his secrets. You could have put him in more danger." I tried to explain. But this might tell us what happened to him. It might help us find him. This isn't just some diary, it's a message, a warning. They wouldn't listen. They kept saying I had no right to invade his privacy, that it was sacred, that he trusted me and I opened his heart to strangers. They said I should have brought it to them first, or kept it to myself. My mom said I just wanted attention, that I wanted to be the hero. I'm reeling from this. I genuinely thought I was doing the right thing. He wrote that entry, find the truth. Wasn't this exactly what he meant, to share it, to get to the bottom of whatever secret life he was living? But now my parents are barely speaking to me. They're saying I've made things worse. Who's actually wrong here? Me, for giving my missing brother's intensely private and unsettling journal to the police in the hopes of finding him? Or my parents, for not seeing that this was the only way to get answers, regardless of privacy? Let's take a look at what some of the top comments said. Commenter 1 said, "Your brother specifically wrote, 'Find the truth.' You honored his wish and gave the police necessary information. Your parents are letting emotion cloud judgment." Commenter 2 said, "Privacy matters, even if someone is missing." You exposed his deepest fears to the world without knowing the full context. That was a huge betrayal. Commenter 3 said, "This isn't about privacy anymore. It's about a missing person, potentially in danger." You did the responsible thing, however painful. I told my roommate's fiancé he was cheating the day before their wedding. So, yeah, this happened, and I'm still shaking. I basically blew up my roommate's entire life the day before his wedding. And I honestly don't know if I can live with myself, but also, what else was I supposed to do? My roommate, Alex, and we've lived together for a solid 3 years. We're cool. We share rent, we keep to ourselves. We're not best friends, but we're respectful. He's engaged to Sarah. She's super sweet, a little naive maybe. They've been together for 5 years. The wedding was tomorrow. As in, today is the rehearsal dinner. The entire week leading up to this, Alex has been acting weird, stressed, which is normal for a wedding, but also secretive, always on his phone whispering. He'd leave the house late at night and come back early in the morning saying he was helping with wedding stuff or picking up last-minute decor. Which, okay, I believed him at first. Then, about 3 days ago, I woke up in the middle of the night to get water. From the kitchen, I could hear Alex in the living room on the phone. His voice was low, urgent. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but he was loud enough. I heard him say, "I need to tell her before tomorrow, before I make the biggest mistake of my life." And then, "I love you, I really do. Just wait for me." My blood ran cold. Biggest mistake of my life. I love you. It was Sarah on the other end. No way. This was something else, someone else. I retreated back to my room, heart pounding. I tried to convince myself I misheard, that it was nothing. But the tone, the secrecy, it was too much. Yesterday, the day before the wedding, was hell. Alex was a bundle of nerves, probably because of his guilty conscience. I avoided him all day. I tried to just ignore it, to pretend I hadn't heard anything. But every time I saw him, every time I thought of sweet, unsuspecting Sarah, my stomach twisted. I spent hours pacing, weighing my options. Do I say something? Do I keep my mouth shut and let them get married? Let her start her life with a lie. I'm not close with Sarah, but I like her. She seemed so happy, so in love. Envisioning her at the altar, beaming, completely oblivious, made me sick. Finally, at about 5 p.m., just a few hours before the rehearsal dinner, I couldn't take it anymore. I found Sarah's number through Alex's phone book, which feels super stalkerish now, but I was desperate. I texted her. "Sarah, this is my name, Alex's roommate. I need to talk to you, urgently. It's about Alex." She called me back within minutes, sounding concerned. "Is Alex okay? What's going on?" I took a deep breath, and I told her everything. About the phone call, about his weird behavior, about what I'd heard him say. I told her I didn't know who the other person was, but that he was definitely involved with someone else and was planning to break it off with her, right before or right after the wedding. There was silence on the other end, a long, agonizing silence. Then I heard a choked sob. "No," she whispered. "No, you're lying." I heard her voice crack. Then she said, "Thank you," and hung up. I didn't hear from her after that. But a few hours later, the texts from Alex started. Raging, screaming texts. "What did you do? You ruined everything. You backstabbing piece of SHT." And then his parents called him, and then her parents. The whole thing just exploded. The wedding is called off. Everything is cancelled. Alex's parents are demanding he move out. It's chaos. And Alex is pretty much blaming me for everything, saying it wasn't my place. That he was going to tell her, that I should have stayed out of it, that I embarrassed him and his family. And honestly, a part of me believes him. Maybe he was going to tell her. Maybe I jumped the gun. Maybe I should have just kept quiet. But watching her walk down that aisle, not knowing, just felt so wrong. So, am I the jerk for telling my roommate's fiancé he was cheating the day before their wedding and effectively destroying everything? Let's take a look at what some of the top comments said. Commenter 1 said, "You saved that woman from marrying a lying cheater. You absolutely did the right thing. He would have dragged her through more pain later." Commenter 2 said, "You could have waited for him to tell her. You inserted yourself into a private, messy situation and blew it up for drama. Not your place." Commenter 3 said, "He made his bed. You gave her the truth she deserved." Anyone saying otherwise would rather see someone enter a marriage built on a lie. I read my teenage daughter's private diary. Who's actually wrong here? Okay, I'm probably about to expose myself as the worst mother on the planet. My daughter, Lily, she's 16. She's always been pretty open with me, or so I thought. We have a good relationship, lots of talking, minimum teenage drama. But lately, she's been so withdrawn, so moody. And her grades, which are normally stellar, are slipping hard. And then I found her diary, and I read it. And now I'm here, feeling like a complete monster. It started a few months ago. Lily just changed. She used to come home from school and tell me everything. About her friends, about her classes, about the cute guy she saw. Now she goes straight to her room, door locked. She's always on her phone, but she hides the screen if I walk past. She snaps at me for little things. She looks tired all the time. Her eyes are often red. I asked her if anything was wrong, if she was being bullied, if she was doing drugs. She just shuts down. "I'm fine, Mom. Leave me alone." I was worried sick. I tried everything. Talking, offering to take her out, getting her favorite snacks. Nothing worked. It felt like she was slipping away. And as a mom, that feeling is terrifying. You want to protect them, but you don't know what you're protecting them from. Then, yesterday, I was cleaning her room, a rare occurrence, believe me, and I was tidying up her desk. Under a pile of textbooks, I saw it, a small locked journal, pink with a little silver clasp. My heart clenched. My stomach dropped. I knew instantly what it was, a diary. I stood there for a good 5 minutes just staring at it. My conscience was screaming at me, "Don't do it," invading her privacy. She'll never trust you again. But my fear, my motherly instinct, was louder. What if she's in danger? What if she's hurting herself? What if she's doing something stupid and I could have stopped it? I don't know how, but I found the tiny key. It was hidden under her mattress. My hands were shaking as I opened it. I knew I shouldn't be doing it, but I couldn't stop myself. I started reading, and it was a gut punch. It wasn't about drugs or bullying, thank God. It was about a boy, her first real boyfriend, and he broke up with her. It was brutal, not just a simple breakup. She wrote about him gaslighting her, making her feel crazy, isolating her from her friends. She wrote about feeling worthless, about not wanting to eat, about barely being able to get out of bed, about feeling like she didn't deserve happiness. There were detailed accounts of their arguments, his cruel words, her desperate attempts to make him love her again. It was all there. Her pain, her insecurity, her self-doubt. And she'd been carrying it all alone, for months, and I had no idea it was this deep. I mean, I knew they broke up a while ago, but she'd said she was fine. I finished reading. I put the diary back exactly where I found it. Locked it up. And then I just sat there on her bed, crying, crying for her pain, crying for my own failure to see how much she was hurting, and crying because I knew I had violated her trust in the most profound way. Now I'm left with this impossible choice. Do I confront her, tell her I read it, and explain why, risk shattering our relationship permanently? Or do I pretend I never saw it, but use the information to help her subtly without letting on? But how do I do that without seeming like I'm suddenly, fix it, mom? I keep replaying the scene. My daughter pouring her heart onto those pages, thinking it was totally private. My eyes greedily consuming her pain. I know it was wrong, but I was so scared, so desperate to know what was going on. Who's actually wrong here? Me, for reading my teenage daughter's private diary out of fear and desperation? Or is there some grey area where a parent's concern outweighs a child's privacy, especially when they're struggling? Let's take a look at what some of the top comments said. Commenter 1 said, "You absolutely violated her trust. There are better ways to open communication. She'll be hurt and feel betrayed if she finds out." Commenter 2 said, "A parent's job is to protect their child. When they're struggling and not communicating, you have to find out what's going on. You did it out of love." Commenter 3 said, "You found out she was suffering and a bad breakup that could lead to serious issues. Now you need to carefully approach her, but don't regret finding out." "My sister wants her kidney back after a falling out. Am I the jerk?" So this is going to sound completely insane, like something out of a messed up movie plot, and honestly, it feels like one. My sister Chloe, she wants her kidney back. Seriously. She donated a kidney to me 7 years ago, and now, after a massive falling out, she's demanding it back. Let's start from the beginning. 7 years ago, I was really sick. My kidneys were failing. I was on dialysis, getting weaker and weaker. It was terrifying. Doctors told me I needed a transplant and fast. My sister, Chloe, she immediately stepped up. She got tested. She was a match. She didn't even hesitate. "I'm doing it," she said. "You're my sister. I can't lose you." It was a huge deal, obviously. A life-saving gift. The surgery went well for both of us. My life got a second chance. I was beyond grateful. I literally owed her my life. I told her that every chance I got. We were closer than ever after that. We talked every day. We went on trips. She was my hero. Fast forward to about 6 months ago. That's when things started to go south, spectacularly. It was over something so stupid, looking back, but it escalated in a way I never saw coming. Chloe had been having financial troubles for a while. She asked me for a pretty significant loan, not small change. I'm talking about enough to cover several months of her mortgage. I told her I couldn't. My husband and I, we just put a down payment on a new house. We were stretched thin. We had 2 kids. I offered her what I could spare, a few thousand, and suggested she talk to a financial advisor, maybe try to refinance. It was a well-meaning suggestion, I thought. She flipped out. "You owe me," she screamed over the phone. "I gave you a kidney. You have a new house, a stable life, and you can't help your own sister." She said I was selfish, ungrateful, that I'd forgotten everything she sacrificed for me. That a few thousand was an insult. I tried to calmly explain my situation, that my new house didn't mean I was suddenly rich, that our finances were carefully planned. That I loved her, but I couldn't jeopardize my family's financial security. She didn't care. She hung up on me, and that was the start of the nightmare. She started texting me, calling me names. She told our entire family that I was a greedy, heartless biatch who forgot everything she'd done for me. My parents tried to mediate, but Chloe just kept going. She refused to even be in the same room as me. Then last week, I got a registered letter. Not from her, but from a lawyer. I opened it, completely confused, and it said, essentially, that Chloe was formally requesting the return of her donated organ or monetary compensation proportional to the value of a life-saving organ. It threatened legal action if I didn't comply. I read it like 5 times. My jaw was on the floor. Is this legal? Can she actually do this? My husband thinks she's just trying to scare me to get the money she wants. But the level it's gone to, a lawyer, I called my mom, sobbing. Chloe wants her kidney back, I choked out. My mom was horrified. She immediately called Chloe, but Chloe just doubled down. She owes me, she told her. She's wealthy now because of my sacrifice. She can pay up or give it back. I'm completely beside myself. How can someone demand a part of my body back? A life-saving organ. It's not a borrowed item. It's part of me now. And the fact that she's using this against me, using the very act of saving my life as a weapon, it just feels so utterly cruel. But then my own thoughts jump in. I do owe her. I wouldn't be here without her. Does that mean I owe her anything she asks for? Even a massive loan that could sink my family? Am I the jerk for not giving my sister a large loan, which resulted in her demanding back the kidney she donated to me, or its monetary equivalent? Let's take a look at what some of the top comments said. Commenter 1 said, "She saved your life, but that doesn't make you her ATM. The organ isn't a loan or collateral. You are absolutely not the jerk." Commenter 2 said, "You owe her your life, and you put a house before her. She was suffering. You're ungrateful, and she's right to feel betrayed." Commenter 3 said, "This is insane. Organ donation is a gift, not a transaction. She can't legally or morally demand it back. Her actions are extortion." Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video from us. We'll see you in the next one.